let's go on to the topic of the US dollar and this whole question of the special drawing rights of the IMF being converted into a global currency. I think the governor of the central bank, PBOC, Governor Cho, was probably surprised that that original article that he wrote a few months ago got so much global attention. Is there any policy being driven behind that article that you can see taking place in China today that that would move China towards seeing a more neutral global currency?
I don't know much about what the Governor Zhou was thinking about, but I think from my point of view, I was on this topic for years. I think the Wall Street Journal published my article, particularly on this dollar. I call the dollar asymmetry issues.
Dissymmetry, asymmetry.
Asymmetry.
Okay.
Asymmetry issues for a while, and discuss this dollar. When people talk about the renminbi problem, exchange rate, people forgot that this is because U.S. dollar want to devaluate, so that's become our problem of revaluate. So that's a problem. And before that, before this crisis, even we talk about this so much, but no much attention to be caught. So I think it's the right time, to raise the issue again by somebody who has authority on this issue. So I don't know if he expected such a huge response, but I think it's natural in this global recession, and particularly this is the dollar problem. This is U.S. recession, U.S.-led financial crisis.
What can China do to take the pressure off the fact that 70% of its foreign exchange reserves is in U.S. dollars? Do you see the numbers changing? Do you see?
So, if we take that, you can see China from this point of view
is a big supporter of the U.S. dollar.
Yeah, it's not in China's self-interest to have a fluctuation, to have an immediate fluctuation of the U.S. dollar.
Okay.
Right. So the China's purpose is not to now to get this this label or instability of the current system.
Right.
The real purpose is long-term structural change, system changes, and that will benefit not only China but all the developing countries, all the so-called non-reserve currency issuers in the global market. So this is more fundamental. This is not for the short term. In the short run, of course, China, hope U.S. dollar to be stable, and to U.S. assets should be safe. That's in China's self-interest. So his purpose is not to disturb.
Right. In your personal opinion, if the IMF special drawing rights is used as a mechanism for a global currency, how much of that should be weighted in renminbi? Going forward, and how do you see that evolving? I mean, just a theoretical question.
Theoretical. Now, I don't think that will be in the basket.
Okay.
I think
today it wouldn't be in the basket. Okay.
Today would not be in the basket. China is still a small exporter, says small GDP. I mean, in terms of the global GDP, 7% something. In the export market. 10%, 11% is not really that much. And financially speaking, China's financial market is still not open. Renminbi is not convertible.
Do you see that China has to increasingly participate in the global currency market?
Yeah, definitely. That will be the part of the development of China. But remember, this is development of China. China is still a developing country in the early stage. We need to develop a lot of things. To participate in the global financial market, you need to fix up a lot of the problems in the domestic. You need to develop a domestic market and to stop start to go to international operations, one step by another one. And China have been trying this several steps, and now is increasing its trial. QFI, the QDII, the sovereign funds, the sovereign wealth funds, and more convertibility on the current account. And I believe now as moving toward more Chinese bonds.
China cannot have a policy of liberalizing its securities markets and access to global markets without liberalizing currency.
Sure, but I think if they operate in the Chinese market, there's a currency, there's a money market there,
yes,
and they can swap doing a lot of things. But maybe for the QDI, because when they come in, the global market crashes.
Right.
It crashes.
Right.
So then not many people really invest in that. Right. So that's maybe their problem. But if they are doing business in China, I think they can borrow from the banks and they can do swaps in the market.
There was you see kind of a staged liberalization of the Chinese renminbi.
I don't know. It seems no timetable anyway.
Okay.
It depends a lot of things. Depends on global financial stability after this crisis. Depend on the global financial reforms. I think that will be significant. And also depend on domestic development. Domestic development of the banking sector, the private banking institutions, the security market, the private equity, depends a lot of things, domestic things. I would say this would come back to my early point. For developing countries like such, you need a caution. You need to be compatible between the compatibility between your opening up, liberalization of financial market, and your other institutions, other regulatory frameworks, including even the government system, to have more financial development.
Because the Chinese government is in such a strong fiscal position, do you think that in itself slows down some reforms that need to take place? Privatization, for example.
Yeah.
And should China need an economic slowdown in order to speed up some of these reforms?
Yeah, the good time people don't think of reform very much. The bad time, but you don't like to see a bankrupted government. You don't like to see a government in a big deficit anyway.
Right.
So to avoid the big deficit, to be in a good position, at the same time, how to persuade people, how to have the long-term vision for the reforms, for the changes, that's important. I would say that's the most important thing for the government. You can do the short-term things right. Everything could be right with your pocket, right? But how you think about the long run, how you think about if there's a downturn, if your budget is not so good, how that things will be managed. So that's a way of.
Dr. Fan, thank you so much for speaking to us, and we hope that we'll be able to figure out where all this is going.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.